Hey everyone, it's John Isaias here from the Automator. And today, especially if you're a YouTuber or if you're recording videos, this script, which is kind of funny because in the video you'll see how we do our little magic. Usually you see Isaias and I in the top right when he's sharing his screen. And sometimes we'll have points we want to make sure that we talk about.
Right.
And that's what this tool is all about, is make and sometimes you'll see people, and we're guilty of it too, we will be discussing something that's supposed to be on the screen, but our webcams are in front of it. And it's easy to forget because when you're recording the screen, it's not there. Well, this all started off with me years ago saying, I'm going to put a GUI there just as a placeholder to remind me there's something there.
Right.
And it dawned on me of like, well, why don't I put text there so I can have bullets so I know what I want to talk about, but you can't see it because I'm going to put my webcam there later. So this is just a jazzed up version of what I had created a horrible script years ago.
Well, and that's the interesting thing. So the script itself is extremely simple. Like there's not much going on. I would divide this script into two parts. One of them is the GUI itself. It is just a simple GUI. I make it always on top, and I make it a tool window so that it doesn't have a good big bar at the top. But I do want to keep the close button to exit the application as soon as you click on that, right? Then I change the background color of the GUI to something yellow, for example, or any other. I like yellow so that it is there, like it bashes on you and you're like, remember, your webcam is going to be there. So that way we kind of like know when I open a program that is something is going to be covered there and that I have to be careful, right?
Now,
And then
here's a tip though for everyone doing, if you really consider doing this, put your webcam as close as you can to wherever you put this thing. So when you go to look at your notes, you're actually looking at your webcam like it's very close to
right there.
No.
That's correct. That's exactly what I did. And then what happens here is, and this is very important for me at least, it was like, hey, let's set these to 0. The margins, when you set them to 0, what happens is that the edit field that I'm going to build now, the next one here, it's going to be completely flush on the top of the GUI. You will see what that looks like in a second. And then I made the same background as the main script. And I removed the vertical scroll. I don't know why I did that though. I will figure that one out later. But I think that the vertical scroll was messing around with something. I don't remember what it was. So after that, I show my GUI, and now is the second part. So as I mentioned, the first part is a GUI. The second part are these two messages that I'm listening for. And they are very special. One of them is when you move your mouse away, which is X200, which is the one above. And when your mouse leaves the window, and that was a tricky one. So what I'm doing is, if I get any of those two messages, I call the notify function down here. And in here, this notify function captures some data from Windows. And I'm saying, if the message that I received, that's what I'm going to be receiving a message. If the message that I received is that I moved the mouse inside that particular window, basically, then I'm going to be showing or displaying a warning to myself saying, hey, you know what? Hey, remember. Now, if you stop moving the mouse or if you exit the window, what happens is that you don't get messages anymore. So how do you remove the tooltip when you don't need it? That's where the mouse leave comes into place. This only gets sent when your mouse leaves the window. And what I did is that I set after a second, I removed the tooltip. That's all it's doing. So it's a very simple script. Now let me move the window so you know what is behind the webcams. So this is what's there. Again, as I mentioned, the fact that I made the edit field be flush at the 0, 0 location on the window makes it so that I have the full space just to type around and have it there. Now, I removed my vertical scroll for whatever reason. I don't know why. I will remember as soon as I put it back in, and then I'm like, oh my God, this thing, I forgot about that. But for now, what I do is that I use the up and down arrows to move up and down. And actually, I don't need the scroll bar that much because usually we go line by line, like
Yeah.
I just
and
moved.
also they're bullets, right? You don't usually want to have too much there anyway.
Right. And in this case, you see that there's a little tooltip, this warning. And what was happening a lot was that as soon as I was leaving, then the warning was staying up there. And I was like, yeah, there's no warning anymore. It's okay. But it was not going away. But that's what this message actually covers. It just waits 1 second and then removes the tooltip from view so that it doesn't stay outside. Because sometimes if you're too fast, the tooltip is outside of the window and then it stays there. And then it was like, what can I do? But this is great because now we can have some topics to cover depending on what we're talking about, or some reminders, things that I have to do. Hey, remember to set the DPI. Hey, remember to set the webcam reminder. So I remind myself to do that, right? Hey, switch the desktop, put the shirts on. It's not that we're naked. It's just that we use the AUTOHOTKEY shirts, for the videos. That's basically what happens, and so on and so forth. And but basically, in the end, what happens is you don't see none of that because I place it where our webcams are going to be in post-production. But it helps me remind myself, hey, whenever I open something, so now I'm going to open this tool. If I open it and it is right here, now click the close button. Yeah, nobody can see that, not even I can, because the webcams are there. That's basically what that warning is for. So it's great to have it, especially if you're sharing your screen or you're streaming or something. It's good to have kind of like reminders of things that you're going to put in the video post-production. We should have one for the banner at the bottom, like whenever you have like a link that you put at the bottom of the video, hey, be careful, because if I'm showing something right there when you put the link, I cannot see it. That one is more manageable though, right?
Again, we'll put the URL for this script to download. It's a really, really, really helpful tool to remind you to not do something stupid, because if you've ever done recording your screen, your desktop, you already know how painful that is when you go in post and then you're like, crap, stuff I'm highlighting, I'm talking to, nobody can see. Yeah, great.
Right. Exactly.
Like the video if you learned something here and enjoy this. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.